Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whenever you may be. Guess what, folks? It's another exciting adventure into eighth grade science here at Ace Academy, live from the front of bunker in somewhat quarantined Southeast United States. It's time for some interesting science conversation. Now, 8P2. So remember, guys, go ahead and like the video. Remember, if you have any questions or anything, please give me a call, 704-363-9034. Remember, we will have probably one more lesson after today, and then we'll have a short assessment on this in Master Connect. So be sure to check in. So I join you today from the savannas of Africa as we talk about resource conservation. So I can explain what conservation of resources means. So conservation right here is the prevention of loss of a resource by way of thoughtful management of it. Conservation is the prevention of loss of a resource by way of thoughtful management of it. Remember, resources can be land, they can be soil, they can be air, they can be water, they can be living creatures such as animals, bugs, insects, anything else. You can conserve anything, just in order so that you have that resource for later use. So management does not simply mean preventing humans from having anything to do with it. So management is not just, walling it off and going, all right, we'll let whatever happen over there, and that's conserving it. No, not really. California does the hands-off, nothing happens to it type of management with its wild areas and suffers horrible forest fires year after year because they take the view that man should have nothing to do with it. It should be left totally natural. Well, unfortunately, nature, in normal things in nature, fire regularly happens. Set by lightning, it burns up a bunch of stuff. And again, in a healthy forest, it just burns the understory, all the dead wood, the brush laying around the ground. It doesn't burn up all the trees and everything. It just slowly kind of creeps through and takes care of all that brush. That's how forests remain healthy. But when you don't allow fires, every time a fire starts, you put it out. Every time a fire starts, you put it out. You get all this dead, unnecessary, brush builds up, and then lightning strikes. The fire starts, and then it quickly blows up to the point because it has so much fuel that they can't put it out in a hurry, and you end up with these massive, burns every single thing in its path forest fires out there because they don't manage their forests the right way. Here in the East, where we have, forests all over the place, we have the occasional forest fire, but not like they have in California because we manage our forests differently here. We go in, we do controlled burns, we let, some fires burn, when they're lit off because, hey, that area needs to burn off anyway. We just kind of, maintain the border of it, make sure it doesn't, it's out in unpopulated areas. And these fires don't get wild and crazy and out of control and burn everything to the ground to the point where it's just, the surface of the moon. Then you have to worry about erosion and soil loss. So it's management doesn't mean just walling it off and saying, no, we're not going to mess with it. So management is the careful, considerate planning and use of the resource with all aims of having the resource last indefinitely. We want whatever it is to last forever. So we're going to manage it like we want it to last forever. You can get a college degree in forestry management at Auburn, where I went to school. I knew some guys that were in it. Management of forest means that certain areas can be harvested for timber, certain areas are cleared of underbrush, game animals will be hunted within a season to keep the populations in check. Conservation is a holistic view. It looks at every single thing that goes into it so that you're maintaining a balance of what's going on in nature. So when things get out of balance, like you see in California and all these crazy wildfires, that's when things aren't the way they're supposed to be. So conservation is not simply letting nature run its course. Nature is a cruel and fickle beast that will trouble you to no end if left unchecked. Conservation is understanding nature and what it's capable of. Here's some interesting news for you guys. Some of the best conservation societies in the United States are hunting groups. What? Now, in your head, you're thinking, how is it a group that wants to harvest animals the best at conserving them? Well, think of it this way: if the hunting society simply went out and harvested all the animals, what would they do next year? All the animals would be gone. Their sport would be over, they could no longer participate in it. The group would disband, they have to find other hobbies. But they like hunting. They want to do it year after year. They want to be able to pass on the love of their sport to their children and their grandchildren. Well, in order for that to do that, there must be animals to hunt. In order for there to be animals to hunt, there must be habitat for them to live in. In order for there to be habitat, there must be land that is owned and dedicated to the preservation of the habitat of the animal they like to hunt. So guess what? The habitat must be kept free of encroachment of developers and other projects that would hurt it. The hunting groups bring together many people who pool their money and purchase land that will solely be used as habitat for the animals that they want to hunt. The group will hire scientists to study and protect the land from things that they can't see and make sure that the things that they do are in the best interest of the continued population of the animal. These scientists create plans that make sure that the animals that the hunting group wants to have access to will always be available in perpetuity, meaning forever. Conservation is immensely important to the preservation of the ability to hunt animals. Think of it this way. In fact, most of the large animals on the African continent are endangered. The rhinoceros, the cheetah, the elephant, all these animals are endangered. That means they are, there's the numbers are going down, and there's so few of them that it's they have to do it. We have to do everything we can to protect these animals. Well, the only thing that's keeping these animals basically off of the extinction list are the hunters that want these animals around to be able to harvest them. Again, I know in your mind you're saying, how can people that want to kill these animals be the only thing keeping them alive? Well, just like forest management, there is animal management. But again, it takes money to do it. Unfortunately, in Africa, the countries have a lot less money to do things like protect animals. They're more worried about, you know, building roads and hospitals and making sure their people can live. So they just don't have a lot of money left over, to take care of animals. So hunting organizations have stepped in and created lottery systems for some of the most dangerous animals to hunt. Hunters from around the globe pay a lot of money just simply to enter the lottery for a chance of hunting one of these big game animals. And if they're selected in the lottery, they pay upwards of $10,000 to $20,000 for the tag. They call it. You have to have a tag to be able to hunt an animal that allows them to legally hunt the animal. All this money from the lottery entry funds, the tag fees, goes towards the conservation efforts in the area where these animals live. One tag fee can pay the salaries of a couple of game wardens for an entire year. So money, we spend our dollars down here, we earn dollars, and so 10 or 20,000, it's a lot of money. But down there, that's enough money to fund game wardens and their trucks and food for these animals and medicines for the whole herd for a year just from the tag fee they get from letting one person go out and shoot one animal. So the game wardens and scientists that these hunters pay to protect the herds from poachers and other intrusions on the land that they roam. Poachers are the most serious threat to all the large animals in Africa. Um, people are unscrupulous. People were willing, especially guess what? A lot of stuff goes to China. Chinese and Asians are willing to pay ungodly amounts of money for powdered rhinoceros horn, powdered elephant, tusk, all kinds of things where poachers go in and kill the animal, take the couple of pieces that that are valuable, and then just leave the animal to lay there. On the other hand, hunters from around the world go in, stalk and shoot an animal. Not they don't kill everything they can find. They kill one. They will take their trophy, whether it's a head mount or something like that, and then they will harvest the rest of the animal, and then the meat will be distributed to the villages in the area where a lot of the guides and stuff come from. So I mean, you shoot one 2 or 3,000 pound buffalo down there, Cape buffalo, and the hunter takes the head home to put on his wall, but the rest of the animal is all the meat and stuff provides food for a village for a week or two. And if they, if it's a village that has a little bit of refrigeration or the ability to preserve the meat, I mean, that's enough meat to, for a long time. So these things, that the hunters and the conservation groups that they support are one of the few things that literally are keeping a lot of these animals alive down there. Um, so it's conservation is not simply just saying no, we can't go over there and touch that or mess with that or stay off that land. Conservation is figuring out what do we need to do to protect this so that we have this all going forward into the future. So now it's like, all right, so how does this translate to conservation of resources? Well, you can conserve anything you're interested in preserving for future use. There's a drought, you conserve water, so there's water to drink later in time. You stop or cut back using water for things you don't have to do as often. Stop watering the lawn, you stop washing the car, you shower less, you don't leave the faucet running while you brush your teeth. All these things save water, keep it in the reservoir for use later when you want to drink it, which is necessary. You conserve soil by rotating crops and not cutting the land bare above it and expose it to erosion. You conserve air by driving a cleaner, less polluting car, taking the bus. You conserve land by increasing density of the population on an area instead of everyone living in a house on 3 acres. I mean, conservation is not just taking something and just going, yeah, we're not going to do it. It's managing it so that it lasts into the future going forward. Conservation is scientific management, not absolute restriction. All right, short lesson A, but again, conservation. Definitely want to know the prevention of loss of resource by way of thoughtful management of it. Definitely want to know that. All right, so remember, like the video, subscribe to the channel. I have an assessment basically posted first of next week on this. Today's Wednesday. We'll have one more lesson on Thursday. So I may post the assessment on Friday, but giving you on the next week to finish it. And this will be the last of our new material for the year. If you have any questions, anything, once again, give me a call, 704-363-9034, and we'll talk to you guys later.